Let's take a look at what NeoSPCC has done for the months of February and March, and we start with NeoFS. In the previous video, we've told that we're working on bringing NeoGo consensus node into the NeoFS inner ring node. I'm glad to say that this work is finished and we have appropriate changes merged now into the master branch. So this is going to be a part of the next NeoFS release and will allow to simplify maintenance and deployment in many cases. Speaking of the other merged things, we have also brought changes from the 0.35 support branch into the master. Previously, we had so-called support branches maintained for every minor NeoFS release, but this had slowed us down somewhat while not bringing a lot of benefit given the stage the project currently is at. So we will no longer be doing that, and starting from the next release we'll be using just the master branch for the upcoming changes, and hopefully this will allow us to move a little faster. We found and fixed a number of object replication problems in testnet and mainnet. Some less severe issues were identified and resolved as well. All of these will be included in the upcoming NeoFS Node 0.36.0 release, expected to be out in the beginning of April. 2 months ago, we've talked about dropping notary-less mode from NeoFS, and it's done for contracts now. It took us some time to ensure proper migration for notary-disabled networks to notary-enabled mode, and actually required creating a contract update testing framework in the process. This change is not yet deployed to public networks, but it very soon will be. The next thing on our to-do list with respect to this task is dropping notary-less support code from the node itself. Expect a number of red PRs soon, and that's what's going to be included in the 0.37.0 release of the NeoFS node. We have recently started improving NeoFS test suite. There is a NeoFS test cases repository with a number of integration tests for NeoFS, but some of them are outdated, some of them are broken, some of them really work. So we sorted them out and now trying to create a proper CI/CD pipeline to run these tests for pull requests, branches, releases, and things like that. So expect a number of changes there and expect a better tested NeoFS in the future. One minor thing that I would like to highlight is the recent publication of neofs-oauthz repository. It's a very tiny authentication utility that is used by SendFS Neo.org website. It previously was private, but there is nothing secret there, and it can serve as an example of how to create a bearer token. If you're interested in that, you can now have a look at it. Our current most prioritized thing that we are working on is simplifying contract management in NeoFS networks. That means bringing NeoFS contracts into inner ring nodes and auto-deploying them for new NeoFS networks and auto-updating them when inner ring nodes are updated in already running NeoFS networks. This is expected to be completed by the 0.37.0 release of NeoFS node. Right after that, we will start going through the SDK 1.0 issue list. The list itself was reviewed and updated recently, so the roadmap is pretty clear. There are likely to be some release candidates before we get to the final 1.0, so stay tuned and be prepared for SDK upgrades. The most interesting things to land into the SDK soon is the local object slicer and ability to attach front-end generated signatures to various structures. Now, let's get to NeoGo, and we have a new release there. It's still 3.5.0 compatible, but it contains some important bug fixes, especially for those who are running consensus nodes. The only new feature it has is the so-called local RPC client that is to be used by NeoFS nodes with integrated NeoGo. 99.9% of other DApps don't care. Still, we recommend upgrading, and it doesn't require any database resynchronization. By the way, do you know we have an Ansible role for NeoGo? It's there for you to simplify deployment and upgrade and ongoing maintenance of NeoGo. So in February it was updated to support configuration changes made in NeoGo way back in 0.100.0 release. And if you're using it, consider upgrading. If you're still not using it, take a look and maybe it will be useful for you. We had promised some dBFT improvements and we have them delivered now in the form of a new model and behavior specification. This was not easy and required some effort. Still, we think we have some promising results that are public now. We also have received some initial feedback from new research guys. Thank you, Igor and Vitor. This allowed us to improve one of the models and even identify and fix an implementation problem that we had in dBFT 2.0 Go code. We also have plans on implementing the so-called dBFT 2.1 in Go, but for now we're waiting for more feedback to solve any issues at the specification level. Eventually, I think it will drive us to a better dBFT, but it will probably take us some time to get there. One thing I would like to highlight for the past 2 months is external contributions that we have received from the community. Some of them are pretty small and just some local enhancements for specific use cases. Some are bug fixes and some are whole new protocol updates. So Eric Vandenbrink, John Tao, thank you guys. Together we can make NeoGo even better. Right now we're preparing for the upcoming 3.6.0 C# node release with all of its new features. We have appropriate pull requests ready for NeoGo as well, and the next NeoGo release is expected to be 3.6.0 compatible. There won't be a lot of NeoGo specific features there, but at the same time we will remove some of the deprecated APIs, so please be prepared and take a look at our deprecated API removal schedule. We at the same time should mention that we will still keep old RPC client APIs for this release because we know it's still being used in the wild, and even though technically it's time to remove it, we can't do it now and we will keep it for another release cycle. And after the 0.102.0 NeoGo version, we'll be working on RPC improvements. We want to extend our RPC contract binding generator with event data that we can get from manifests. And we also have RPC error code proposal sitting in the queue for quite some time. So maybe May is going to be the time when we will finally get to implementing it.